Hey guys, it's me King Diablo, and in today's video I'll show you the rework skills for woosa, paladin and windwalker classes. So let's start with woosa class. This is the first buff skill for woosa class. The attack speed of the second hit of this skill has increased, and when you use this skill after using the Sagunja Plum skill, you can change the direction of the skill quickly. This is the second buff skill for woosa class. This skill now links quickly with all the other skills when used in auto combat mode. This is the third buff skill for woosa class. You can now link this skill quickly with all other skills when used in auto combat mode. Now let's see Paladin class buff. This is the first buff skill for Paladin class. The PvE damage of the skill has increased. Also, this skill now attacks the close ranged enemies too. Also, now when the passive skill effect is active, the attack range of the skill is increased by 20% and you will have invincibility while using this skill. This is the second rework scale for Paladin class. The attack speed of the scale has increased. This is the third rework scale for Paladin class. The attack range of the scale has increased and the number of hits of the scale has been increased to 5 hits instead of 3 hits. But now this skill only does a maximum of 1 attack. This is the fourth rework scale for Paladin class. The attack range of the scale and its flow has been increased by 20%. This is the fifth rework scale for Paladin class. The attack range of the scale has increased and this scale now has rear super armor, but it's not applied in arena. Also, using this skill now recovers 100% of your sacred power bar. The PvE and PvP damage of the skill has also increased. This is the 6th rework skill for paladin class. You can now use some evasive skill and the dodge skill quickly if you fail to grab the enemy by using the skill. This is the 7th rework skill for paladin class. The attack range of the skill has been increased by 10% and the PvE damage of the skill has also increased. Also, the duration of super armor iframe on this skill has now increased. This is the 8th rework skill for paladin class. This skill now has knockback on successful hit instead of knockdown on successful hit. This is the 9th rework skill for paladin class. The PvE damage of the skill has increased. Lastly, the passive skill for paladin class has also been buffed. The shield's throw skill has now been included to receive the passive skill buff, and all the skills that receive the passive skill buff now gets invincibility throughout the skill instead of super armor. That is when the passive skill effect is active. Also, now all the skills included for the passive skill buff now gains 20% damage increase effect for 10 seconds when the passive skill effect is active, instead of getting a separate damage increase values. Now let's see Windwalker class rework. This is the first rework skill for Windwalker class. The attack speed and attack range of the skill has increased. This is the second rework skill for Windwalker class. The attack speed and linking speed of the skill has now increased. Also, now you can link this skill with Wind Knife, X Strike, Wind Slicer and Gale Harvest skills too. This is the third rework skill for Windwalker class. The super armor iframe duration on the skill has now been increased. This is the fourth rework skill for Windwalker class. In the patch note it says when using this skill for an additional attack, the character's movement until the attack is completed has been reduced. I couldn't really understand what this meant. I even tested it in Korea server but didn't see much of a noticeable difference. So if you know what this means, let me know in the comments. I will pin that comment. Here is a bit of testing I showed for this video. So if you see any noticeable difference in this, let me know in the comments. This is the fifth rework scale for Windwalker class. The super armor duration on this scale has now been increased, and the duration of super armor on its flow has also been increased. This is the sixth rework scale for Windwalker class. The super armor duration on the flow of the scale has now been increased. Also, this skill can now be linked with Ethereal Blast and Wind Rider skills. Also, in the patch note it says that its behavior changes when you link it to Wind Rider skill, which I assume means a better linking speed. Lastly, the passive skill for Windwalker class has also been buffed. So the increased PvP damage by 10% effect has now been changed to increase the damage of all skills by 15%. Also, the acceleration effect description has been removed from the skill description box, and instead a new flow named acceleration has been added. This new flow, when activated, increases your running speed when you start to run, and it also reduces the damage received from other players by 15% for 5 seconds. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share. I will see you in the next video.